Hopefully we get a pulsating Pacific Division showdown as it's the Oilers and the Kraken for the final time this regular season with a lot on the line for both clubs. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show as we get you set for Edmonton and Seattle. The Oilers 37-28-9. The Kraken 32-29-11. It is game number 75. Tom Gazzola with you alongside Shawn, Belle, and Ben Thomson. We're coming at you from the EST Satellite Studios, a.k.a. my place. Bellsy is in the kitchen, as usual. And Benny is back at EST Global HQ. I mean, Bellsy, I'm not bringing the road kit. Every time to set up in my kitchen. So you're in the kitchen. I'm in the studio, aka the office, and we do it this way. That works. It works quite well, I think. You got the mic, you got the light, you got a nice setup, you got a fridge full of whatever you want at your heart's desire in front of you. I think it works.
Like a smorgasbord.
A smorgasbord.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And then we can hear each other in the background. So in case my internet cuts out, I can hear you. Like it's a perfect setup.
Oh, buddy, I have the best fiber optic that I think downtown Edmonton can get. So you should be just fine. I am hardwired in. You are on the Wi-Fi, but I think there should be no disruptions. I knock on wood just in case. Benny Thomson, how are you doing today?
I'm great, guys. Great. Just it's a lovely day here. It's starting to get warmer. We're starting to get spring weather.
Finally.
I'm not willing to commit to, it's officially here. Bells, we've talked.
Don't do it.
I'm not. But if you look at the forecast coming up, it's looking better.
It is looking better. I agree with that. But don't do it.
I'm not saying a thing. I'm not saying.
Don't be Matty.
Because we'll get another snowstorm like we've been getting like the last week or so, which is a kick in the sensitive male area. All right. Join the conversation. 780-218-9999. Hop into the nasty chat if you're watching over on YouTube. Kate Sheffy from the Seattle Times will be joining us a little bit later on in the show. And guys, I have a couple of on locations to announce. I know there's only a few road games remaining, but April 8th, we're back at Hudson's, Canada's Pub. Going to go visit Connor and the crew on White Avenue. That is a 7 o'clock start, or an 8 o'clock start. We're on the air for 7, and we'll be there all game long. Of course, be there for the post-game show as well. And then April 11th, Boston Pizza, 170th Street. So a couple more watch parties that you can join us for. Hudson's on April 8th, White Avenue, and then Boston Pizza, 170th on April 11th. I know Tony and Curtis and the crew are always great to hang out with. And then Connor and the staff at Hudson's White are tremendous as well. And hopefully, boys, we have nice enough weather where we can enjoy the splendor of not having to wear winter coats. And I was going to say open up those patio doors, but that might be wishful thinking. Eh, Bellsy?
It might be a tad wishful, but I mean, I appreciate where you're going with it. Because I'm hoping that it's going to be nice as well. No more snow on the ground. It's like that spring is in the air. That playoff season is in the air. Hey, I'm vibing with what you're putting down right now, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. All I want is for us to actually have true spring and not be technically in spring with winter weather. So is that too much for a guy to ask? I hope not. Let's see if it happens. Yeah. Benny, stop hitting us with truth bombs, man.
Guys, I'm a realist here. We live in Edmonton, Alberta, and the weather can change on a dime within hours.
We're a 2-season place.
We are, in a way.
I know.
We actually are. Like, it's kind of weird. It's winter, then it's summer.
I have nothing to add to that. You are factually correct. Or we get like a small glimpse of like true autumn, and then it's gone,
Yeah, then it's instantaneously gone. Like the leaves haven't even dropped yet off the trees, and it's just, oh, here's your snow.
Have some.
Deal with this for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Thanks, Mother Nature.
Thankfully, thanks, Mother Nature. Thankfully, we're in the time of the year where it's supposed to get warmer, and that means playoff hockey, and these two teams have a ton on the line. The Oilers trying to reel in the Anaheim Ducks after they lost in OT yesterday in a very spirited game, let's call it. And then the Seattle Kraken just 2 points back of the Nashville Predators with 2 games in hand on the Preds. And the Kraken are just 3-5-2 in their last 10. And they're concluding a 6-game road trip here that they've gone 1-2-2 on, beating Tampa of all teams on this road trip. A bit of an anomaly, but they got the job done, and they have points in 3 straight. So they're looking at the Oilers, looking to end Edmonton's winning streak. I can't believe we're only saying winning streak for the second time this season, but here we are. And the Oilers looking to reel in the Anaheim Ducks. Belzy, real quick, your thoughts on the Turtle Derby, a.k.a. pillow fight that's happening in the Pacific?
Well, I mean, it's starting to heat up a little bit. I mean, some teams have taken notice of the comment and have started to play a little bit better. I mean, Vegas went out of their way to fire Cassidy and bring in Tortorella. There's always a new coach bump. And with Tortorella, he's got this weird knack for, let's call it a year to get the best out of his teams. So what's that going to do for the Vegas Golden Knights? The Oilers are playing better hockey as of late. They're better defensively. They've been scoring all year. So what are they going to do? Anaheim is Anaheim. I mean, they've been leading the division, and it's shaping up to be a half decent battle down the stretch for the top 3 teams in the division. I can't say that necessarily for the bottom teams in this division, because the team that they're playing today has been slumping. This can be one of my points right away here. LA, what is LA? Nobody really knows what they're doing. San Jose is doing their best to not even try to get there, even though there's opportunities to get there. So it's an interesting division. But the top 3 teams are starting to pull away a little bit and play better hockey for sure.
Benny, a couple thoughts there? Yeah,
I mean, this is just I feel like ever since the pillow fight comment Connor McDavid made, you're starting to see the teams, show the differences between. I mean, like Belzy highlighted there. There's some teams there that I don't know if anyone predicted they would be in the playoffs talk. I mean, San Jose, one of them. I personally didn't have the Seattle Kraken being a team that would be in playoff contention, but here they are. They aren't doing a good job of staying in it, but they're in it. But I mean, to me, it's right now, man, the Pacific Division, Oilers are starting to play better. The Ducks, I mean, they lose to the Leafs last night, but they've been playing better as of late. And Vegas, I mean, I haven't been on the air since John Tortorella's been hired. I mean, we'll see if that completely changes their season. I don't know if it will, but I like that they have a ruthlessness to them where they don't care. They don't care if Bruce Cassidy
hope it doesn't.
Oh, I know, of course. I'm of the mind of let's see the Vegas Golden Knights suck, please. Let's keep them sleeping. But I don't know. I guess if they want a guy to wake them up, Torts is pretty loud, so could do it.
Well, okay, guys, I have I read these out yesterday. It's from Ken Belke. Ken has this on John Tortorella and his bump that he brings to new teams. This is going back a couple days when the news was announced. Ken Belke via Sinbin Vegas says one of the most common refrains about the reasoning behind bringing in John Tortorella is that he gets the most out of teams quickly. History remembers it differently. Tortorella's first 10 games with a new team. Philadelphia 5-5, missed playoffs. Columbus 2-8, missed playoffs. Vancouver 5-4-1, missed playoffs. New York 6-3-1, first round lost in 7. Tampa 1-9, missed playoffs. New York 0-3-1, missed playoffs. Combined 19-32-2. He's 1-0 right now with the Vegas Golden Knights.
Oh, this is the greatest thing you could have ever said to me, Tom.
Why?
Because I want to see Vegas crash and burn, because Cassidy is a good coach. And unfortunately, for whatever odd reason, it's just not working out this year. You don't need to go out of your way to burn it right down to the ground just because the team's having a bit of an off year. Look at the amount of teams that are having off years. It is what it is. Build back for next year. You have a solid coach, but now you're going to bring Tortorella in? Oh, okay.
I mean, those stats you bring up, I guess I can't say I'm surprised because, when I think about John Tortorella, he's a hard coach that expects a lot from players, like Ken said. But usually that takes time to build up over there's going to be, to me, I think, an initial shock from the team. from guys like who aren't used to playing with hard coaches, or at least maybe aren't prone to playing with hard coaches, aka Mitchy Marner. Or
whoa, don't you chirp big game Mitch?
No, hey, I like big game Mitch. I just don't think he'll respond well to a hard coach. Personally, that's just me.
Okay.
I've seen all the memes on Instagram. If you hasn't seen them, it's hilarious. Like everyone's just like,
oh, they're so good. They're so good.
They're so good. He's scared. But I mean, I don't know how many of those guys in that locker room are going to take the liking to John Tortorella right away, is what I'm saying. I think maybe over a full 82 game season, he could, develop a team into, okay, eventually he has guys that buy into his system, but in an 8 game little segment here before you get into the playoffs, I don't know how much change you can do in that quick of a time with the new head coach, but I mean, Kelly McCrimmon, man, he doesn't care. He's willing to do whatever it takes to win. He thinks it's going to make them win. So,
Benny, with that being said, do you want to throw out your question of the night for today?
Yeah. So the hopes for Vegas, depending on how you feel about the coaching changes your thoughts on their cup aspirations and how well do you think they can do in the playoffs this year. So we'll tie this in with the Oilers. 3 games ago, this team, I think we talked about it, we weren't thinking they would go deep in a playoff run this year. But I want to know from you two and from our nasties, how much has your confidence in this team changed over the past 3 games on this Oilers team to go on a deep run in the playoffs?
Go ahead, Ballsy.
I'm very curious who your guys' answers are.
I don't think it has changed. I think I've been saying that there's an opportunity for this team to go to the conference finals. I've been saying it for a little bit now because the division is not great. And there is a pathway for a team like the Oilers who have experience, who have been to the Stanley Cup finals, last 2 seasons. There is a pathway for them to continue on through this division. And, personally for me, I don't really see a team, whether it's Vegas, whether it's Anaheim, whether it's the Mammoth, beating the Oilers in a 7-game series with the team that they currently have. And I understand that they're completely different than they were the year before and the year before that. But at the same time, I still think they have enough to get out of this particular division. I just don't think they have enough to get to the Stanley Cup finals. I don't personally think they have enough to get to or get past the Western Conference finals.
So you think that because of this 3-game stretch, they've furthered their point of, yes, they're going to beat whoever they play in the first 2 rounds if they were to win, but when it comes conference final, you still don't like their chances?
I think that the 3-game stretch, based on the way they're playing defensively, gives you a little bit of hope that there's going to be maybe a chance to push a little bit further. But I don't think, once again, the 3-game has now said, hey, this is going to be the recipe, or this is exactly what it is for them to go all the way to the Stanley Cup finals. I think it's always been a step back year. I always thought that this was going to be a year for them to, I guess, reload. So is a 3-game stretch encouraging? Yes, it 100% is. I just don't know if it's enough to get over the hump.
Well said, Belzy. Let's see. Let's go into the inbox and the nasty chat as well. Colin Buchanan says our Pacific Division X Factor saved our butts, but we need to keep pushing forward in regard to the Oilers. And then I'll add with what kind of to what Belzy said here. I have not changed my opinion on how the Oilers are going to do in the postseason at all because of these last 3 games. It's good that they've won 3 in a row. I, for the sake of the fan base and for the team, hope that they can continue on winning and put together a streak. They've talked, Zach Hyman said it the other night, they need to put together a winning streak, and it helps the team get into the right frame of mind and build a little bit of confidence up. I think that'll go a long way in getting them going in terms of momentum into the postseason. But yeah, I could see them getting past the first round, but second round, probably a good chance of winning that as well. But I don't think it's going to be another run to the Stanley Cup final. If it is, pleasant surprise. But I think next year is going to be the big year, and maybe the year after that. But no, this 3-game winning streak has not changed my opinion of how the Oilers will do in the playoffs. Now, I was at the rink this morning. Matias Ekholm said something interesting, and Benny, I just sent you a text. Maybe we could grab his interview for a little bit later after we talked to Kate Sheffy from the Seattle Times. He said something that I kind of want to hit on, and I'll save that for a little bit later on. So there you go. That's thoughts on the question of the night. How much does this 3-game winning streak change your opinion of what the Oilers are going to be able to do in the postseason? Text us, 780-218-9999. Get into the nasty chat with your responses as well. Shaggy says reasonable expectation is they make it West Final, but get outclassed by Avs, Stars, or Wild. I think that's reasonable. That's Shaggy's fair. Not being negative. That's very nice. How about that?
Wow.
I know a lot of people in the Nats chat are saying, wow, he's optimistic. Look at this.
He's optimistic. Yeah. Okay, let's dive into Game Changers with Shawn, Belle, our game analyst. Game Changers is always brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, a consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for almost 20 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, damonbunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Bellsy, number 1, Seattle slump.
The Seattle slump, they're 3-7 in their last 10 games. Notable victories for this team is against, obviously, the Tampa Bay Lightning, which was 2 games ago. The Florida Panthers, who aren't as good as they were, and they lack the teeth. But outside of that, this is a team that's supposed to be in the midst of, a run to try to make the Stanley Cup playoffs. And they're kind of falling by the wayside. And in this particular game, it's an interesting matchup because they have a tendency to be able to lull you asleep, and they got some guys that they can put the puck in the net. And for the Oilers, it's games where that they're a little bit more high octane, where they're meaningful games. The Oilers show up. And I'm not saying this isn't a meaningful game, because it is a very meaningful game. But the way that Seattle plays, you've got to be wary of it. You're coming in through a 3-game winning streak. You're trying to get to 4. You're trying to build upon all the good habits that you have. You can't take this team for granted. Yes, they don't score a ton. Yes, they give up quite a bit. But at the end of the day, you got to take care of business, and you got to put the puck in the net, and you've got to play, stifling defense and stop guys like Bobby McMahon, who are streaking right now. But it is, once again, a group that you can't take lightly, despite the fact that they're in a slump. Don't become slump busters.
All right. That's point number 1, Seattle slump. Point number 2, defensive prowess.
Defensive prowess, this team is playing much better defensively as of late. I think on the Reed Wilkins show today, Jay mentioned that the Oilers are actually at 3.18 goals against since the trade deadline, which is actually quite lower than their overall, which is, I think, 3.35. So that tells you that they are shaving off at almost a goal a game. And is it the way that they've committed? Is it the lack of turnovers that they're creating? Is it, stick positioning? Is it body positioning? Is it their new defensive zone structure? Is it their coach? Whatever it is, they need to continue doing it, because that is the way that they're going to have to play in the playoffs. They have to be stingy defensively, not give up anything for free, and that is how you continue on in the Stanley Cup playoffs. And it's something that they've seen over the last couple seasons, because when they played the Florida Panthers, well, guess what? They were heavy, but they were also stingy, and they didn't give you anything, and everything that you got, you had to earn. So maybe it's a bit of a, learned recipe for success.
Okay. What was that stat again? Because I think you said it was 3.18.
3.18, I believe, is what Jay mentioned on.
And what were they giving up before?
They're almost at 3.5.
Okay. So
they've almost pulled a full goal off a night. Obviously there's games, and Reed mentioned it, there's games where, against I think it was the Stars for one, where some of those numbers are going to go way up. I think Buffalo might've been another one. But there's games, there's 3 or 4 games that would skyrocket that, but you pull those out, and that's obviously it's a much lower number. It's probably into the 2s, which is a very encouraging thing for a team that's going into the playoffs, especially on a bit of a hot streak.
All right, it is Game Changers with our game analyst Shawn, Belle, Tom Gazzola, and Betty Thomson with you as well, alongside Bellsy. Game Changers is always brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Point number 1, Seattle slump. Point number 2, defensive prowess. And before we go into point number 3, Benny, was there anything you wanted to chew on there?
Yeah, the defensive play, it's definitely been better. Now I think there's a couple things they've changed. Paul Coffey on the back end, I think, has helped with some confidence on that back end, but also the additions to Jason Dickinson and Connor Murphy have, to me, make the biggest difference. The Connor Murphy being able to play with Darnell Nurse as a second pair, and I think this has been, the coaching staff has given this, this D pair a role of, you guys, I don't care about your offense. It doesn't matter to me. Just don't give up anything in your own end. We're gonna match you up against the toughest lines. Go out there and leave a 0 for the other team on the offensive side. So I think that's been a help. Jake Wallman slide down to third pair, play with a solid guy in Ty Emberson. Jake Wallman play on his left side instead of his right, I think, is a big help as well.
Yeah, these
are all things I think that have like little small changes that have made this defense a lot smoother, work a lot better. I think the D zone exits have been better. And so with that, it's been able to transition to even more offense, I think, for this team as well. So, and on top of all that, solid goaltending. Connor Ingram's been really good over the past little while here. Just really consistent, predictable goaltending. I think it's what we've all been asking for here. So they've been getting all of that, which has been good to see.
Yeah, a lot of people saying, where was that? Quaddy saying via the nasty chat, play that repeatable game, should take care of things. All right, let's go into point number 3 of Game Changers with Belle. New first line. Bellsy, take it away.
The new first line is they're absolutely buzzing. Savoy, Podkolzin, and McDavid. They've got an interesting chemistry because they haven't really played a ton of time together because McDavid's had, the usual suspects in Hyman and Nugent Hopkins. And for whatever odd reason, this line got put together, obviously, during the Draisaitl injury, and it has taken off. They're hard to play against. They're fast. They get in on the forecheck. They're pesky. They're not losing many battles, and they're putting pucks in the net. I mean, Savoy's got 3 goals in 3 games, so it's nice to see they're starting to produce. And I was reading something on The Athletic, which I found super interesting. And I'm not an analytics guy. I think you guys both know that, but I found it very interesting because in 1,000 minutes, essentially, when it was Nugent Hopkins, McDavid, and Hyman, over the last 3 seasons, they were clipping around 61% goal share, averaging 3.9, 3 goals per 60. This past season, they've dipped below 40, or they're right around 41%, which is weird because you're like, oh, wait a second, what happened to this line? Our teams, are they getting predictable? Are teams starting to focus in and key on them a little bit too much? But this other line, in the small sample size that they've had, which has been a couple games, they're at 3.96 goals per 60. And that's basically a 60% goal share, which that's pretty good for a first line. So whatever's going on with these 3 guys, they're clicking, they're gelling, and it's paying off in spades for the Oilers.
Bellsy, there was one other thing I wanted to talk to you about, and it comes via our good friend BP Tony from 170th, who texts in.
Oh, our boy, yeah.
That's right.
Is he going to put another bet on the line, or what's the deal there?
Well, I mean, we haven't really cashed in on the bet all that much, although last week BP Tony came through in the clutch when we were in studio, and we enjoyed the pizzas that he hooked up, and we want to thank BP Tony, and we also go to his text here. So Beep, what do you want to say?
No, I just said, okay. Let's go.
Okay, here we go. Tommy BP Tony here. Here's a hot take. When Leon comes back, he plays with Connor and Savoy, leave Nugent Hopkins, Hyman, and Roslovic together, go nuclear all playoffs. And Tony brings up a thought and a question and a theme that has come up a little bit since that line with Roslovic, Hyman, and Nugent Hopkins has been cooking lately. Is now you can go nuclear if you want to keep that line together. What would you say to that? Because it has become a talking point around here a little bit lately.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree with it. Nuclear is always the option. But let me throw something else at you.
Okay.
Before the injury of Draisaitl, he's had some different line mates, one of them being Kapanen. So what happens if you leave the first line together, which is McDavid, which is Savoy and Podkolzin, who's been flying around the ice. You know that they got chemistry. You know that they've been difference maker for the last couple games. You've got obviously the Nugent-Hopkins line. And what happens if you found a line with Draisaitl, Kapanen, and I don't know, pick another guy that kind of fits the mold of Podkolzin, gets in there, gets some pucks. He looks for Draisaitl. He makes plays. Could you find basically 3 lines that have the ability to score if you don't go nuclear? Because if you have 3 lines that can score, to me, that's called matchup nightmares. Mm-hmm. And if I'm a coach, I want to create as many matchup nightmares as I possibly can for the opposing team. Because if you have a line with McDavid is hot, and then you have a line with Nugent-Hopkins and Hyman, they're hot, and then you have another line with Draisaitl on it, well, who do you give your best pairing? Who's the assignment you give your best pairing to?
We saw what happens when you have 3 lines that score in the Stanley Cup final last year.
Weird, right?
The Oilers couldn't stop it. Like the Florida Panthers had 3 ridiculous lines that would be first lines on a lot of different teams, and the Oilers couldn't handle it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I don't disagree with the nuclear option. I think it is obviously going to always be there. But to me, it's like, hey, you've got some chemistry forming with some other players. Maybe you try to find another line with Draisaitl, pushing the pace and controlling his own line. Kapanen's been good with him. So that's another guy on the wing for Draisaitl, but who's now the third guy? And so that would be probably the biggest question mark, and who would be riding, shotgun to him. Mm-hmm. But to me, 3 lines that can all score and put the puck in the net is better than 2 for sure.
Flexibility to me is always key, and you never know. You can strike gold and capture lightning in a bottle, whatever cliche or idiom you want to use. As long as it works in that moment, you ride it and see where it takes you. Bellsy, great stuff as always, my friend. We'll catch up with you at the rink.
Sounds good. See you, Nasties.
There you go. There's Shawn Belle, our game analyst with Game Changers, brought to you as always by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting now with the agency. Got a chance to hang out and meet some of his coworkers and other people with the agency, and they are absolutely tremendous. Damon's your guy. Absolutely. Couldn't recommend him more. Okay, Benny, before we go inside the Oilers locker room and then hear from Kate Sheffy from the Seattle Times, let's do a quick game day odds check brought to you by Play Alberta. When you play in Alberta, it stays in Alberta. Safe and secure. The revenue generated from Play Alberta is redirected into Alberta's General Revenue Fund, which is used to support programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. Your money line for tonight, Edmonton heavy favorites at minus 185. Seattle comes in plus 157. Dogs, the over-under set at 6.5. I still laugh at that 7.5 that we saw between the Oilers and I think the Ducks. Was it on Saturday?
Yeah, it was. And
we got to 6, but it was looking pretty bad there for a while. And then you saw the quick succession of goals and they almost got there, but the over-under set back at 6.5. The over at minus 110, the under at minus 120. That is your game day odds check brought to you by Play Alberta. Benny.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious because I know I think Zach had a Zach Hyman goal today, and I think Jay was talking about it too. I thought the Reed Wilkins show boys brought up a good point. The Oilers' power play without Draisaitl has struggled. It is 1 for 17 since Draisaitl has left. There is a great opportunity tonight to figure that out a little bit. They've been rotating guys, Podkolzin, Savoy, even Rostovic's got a look here and there on that top power play unit. I'd like them to see and stick with one guy. Seattle's PK is second worst in the NHL. This is a great opportunity to me to figure it out. Because, you got, 9 games left, 8 games left in the season?
8 games.
8 games left. You want to get that power play figured out for the final end of the season there. And I assume Draisaitl is going to slide in and fit like a glove, obviously, on that power play when he comes back. But, you have a great opportunity tonight to play a Seattle Kraken team that struggles on the PK. You've been struggling on the power play, 1 for 17. Let's see if they change it and make it look a little bit better tonight.
We'll see if they can take advantage of the 31st ranked PK in the National Hockey League over in Seattle. All right, keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. Hop into the nasty chat as well. Let's see what we got here. Brandon from Windsor says, correction, boys. That's the new second line. New first line will be Nugent Hopkins, Draisaitl, and Hyman. So prediction, a bold one there from Brandon from Windsor. Spruce Grove Corey wants to give a shout out to the town of Tabor, which hosted the play-on tournament. They beat 2 teams from the Grove, came in second in the U15 division. They got to meet Buckberger, Chris Joseph, Chris Dingman, Tim Hunter, and got in an argument with guest coach Rich Sutter after one of their games. Got a little chippy. Awesome weekend. Richie Sutter is a great, great human being. I love it. Keep those texts coming in, 780-218-9999. All right, let's hear from the head coach, Chris Noblock, and then on the other side of that, Kate Sheffy from the Seattle Times.
The team wants to kind of round its game into shape and be playing its best as the end of the season rolls around. How many strides have you made in that direction here in the last couple of weeks, you think?
I think there's been a lot of strides. I just think it comes down to the importance of the games. At a point where we need to win a lot of games to get into the playoffs, we're teetering on dropping out on that playoff picture. So I think that caught everyone's attention, and we were able to simplify our game and play a harder game, more forward check, fewer mistakes, and more of a playoff type of game, and which is great for us because in the playoffs you obviously know what it takes, and I think we're playing a pretty good game like that right now.
Zach Hyman has 31 goals in 55 games. Can you kind of just talk about maybe how impressed you've been with his performance considering the injury he had, during the summer and then coming in late this season?
We weren't sure how he was going to respond after his surgery. There was going to be, time for him to, get back to playing the way he can. We didn't know how much that was going to limit his puck handling, his goal scoring ability. I think he got off to a little bit of a slow start. I'm not sure how long it was before he got his first goal. Very similar to the year before, where he got off to a little bit of a slow start also. But since then, he's been able to score quite regularly. Power play, even strength. And we needed that, especially now with missing Leon, and he's continued to play very well throughout his time. I think, by December 1st, I think he's second in the NHL in goals scored, and he's been bringing some physicality to his game, which is nice. He's looked like what we want from him. And after a major surgery, not sure if that's going to happen, but fortunately for us, he has been able to play very well.
Chris, will it be Ingram tonight?
Ingram, yes.
Just speaking of that second line with Hyman, Roslovic, Nugent Hopkins, what do you kind of see as your identity, and why do you think it's working so well for you guys right now?
Well, I think it starts with Ryan being our centerman. He's very versatile, whether he's playing left wing center, checking role, more of an offensive role. Just a smart hockey player who complements other guys. So I think it starts with Ryan being the lead guy in that line. But also there's 2 other pretty good players with Hyman and Roslovic. But just being able to capitalize on their opportunities. And the other night, with the goals Roslovic got on a breakout play, and just guys who can put the puck in the net. Roslovic a little more from perimeter. He's got a dangerous shot. Hyman obviously around the net, and then Nuge just being so good defensively, but also a good passer, playmaker, that kind of everything just kind of meshes.
As you guys looked around into form with the playoffs coming up, how important was it for you to find that line with, of course, Leon coming back at some point as well, but just knowing that you have that trio that could help supplement the McDavid line?
Well, it's nice having players that are versatile, and they're not just one-dimensional players, and Nuge is one of those guys, and whether he's playing the checking role or in the middle, left wing, you can move him around the lineup and you're going to get a positive performance from him. So I think it starts with that, and then yes, you need a secondary scoring line. Obviously whatever line McDavid's on, that's going to be the number one focus, but somebody else has got to pick it up, and those 3 have done a pretty good job.
So if that line continues to play together and play well, and you got Dickinson sitting there in the 3 spot, is McDavid and Draisaitl together not as costly potentially as maybe it has felt like in the past? Like, could that be an option that's you can more freely use with this formation?
It's a possibility, but I guess it all depends on when Leon's coming back and how we're playing at the time, and do we have time to play around with things, and who are we playing? What do they have for their setup, their roster makeup? But as well as that line's playing, yes, it gives you more opportunity to play Leon and Connor together.
With Savoy, you pushed him minutes-wise. What did you kind of... Sometimes if you do that with players, maybe you notice quality fall out of their game. What did you notice in Matt with those kind of minutes and responsibility and such?
Young player, young legs won't slow him down at all. So I'm not sure if you play in 22, 23 minutes a night, but certainly somebody who can handle a lot of responsibility. And obviously his minutes are going to go up playing with McDavid, being on the penalty kill, and now being on the first unit power play. There's a lot of responsibilities, and his ice time's just going to go up.
All right, pleased to welcome in for the first time on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show, Kate Sheffy from the Seattle Times, as we get set for the final meeting between the Oilers and the Kraken. And it's been kind of a one-sided rivalry, Kate, ever since the Kraken came into the National Hockey League, but they did get the better of the Oilers earlier this year. And this is a huge game for Seattle, as their playoff lives are kind of on the line here. And it's been a tough go on this road trip. Give us a little taste of what's going on this 6-game road trip so far.
They, in spite of themselves, the Seattle Kraken are still not out of it. And I'm so grateful to Connor McDavid for giving us the pillow fight clip last week, a few weeks ago, because that really just sums it up better than I could have with my years of journalism under my belt, because just everyone else is worse almost somehow. Like now the Nashville Predators have lost 3 in a row, and the Kraken have not been good since the All-Star break. They're 5-9-2, I believe, and that should have been enough to just take them completely out of the running, but they're only 2 points behind the cutoff, and just because everybody else isn't making a move, it's possible. And they need this. They can't, I'm not even going to say they need to win out. They just need to be like 500 team, it seems like. And they will stand a real chance of not blowing it in spite of just this terrible stretch run.
Yeah, it has been pretty rough. I think, 1-2-2 so far in this trip, and they had to go through Buffalo and kind of make their way from the East Coast out west, and they wrap it up here at Edmonton. Has it been goaltending that's been letting them down? Is it lack of goal scoring? What have you noticed from this group lately?
They've struggled to score all year, and it's not even really the goals as much as they just can't really generate any kind of shot volume other than Bobby McMahon, who gets the absolute pass. He has 7 goals in his first 8 Kraken games. What a pickup that has been. When they got him at the trade deadline, around here, everyone was like, well, that isn't what they need. Turns out, yeah, that's exactly what they needed. They needed a scorer of any kind. And he's been very, very good. But other than him, and because he's not afraid to put the puck on net, they just go stretches where they just cannot just get a shot through. They pass up shots. Like and they've kind of gone back to that. They play this kind of cautious hockey, but they are going back to what they've done at the beginning of the year, which is playing for overtime and just kind of clamping down, frustrating teams. They took a point out of Tampa. They took a point out of Buffalo.
Yep.
All of that is good and needed, and they're just kind of treading water, which again could be enough.
Yeah, 2 points back with games in hand on Nashville. And like you said, Nashville's not playing great hockey like a lot of teams in the Western Conference right now, and points in 3 straight for these Seattle Kraken. How has Jordan Eberle been as a leader? Because we looked at him fondly in his time here in Edmonton, and we saw him re-sign with the Kraken, and we know he's kind of always a constant presence there. How has he helped some of the young guys, in your opinion, and your experiences around him?
I think he's definitely helped, especially Matty Beniers. They have played together a good bit of the time since Matty joined the league. And, he's kind of just a steady, pretty quiet, kind of funny when you ask him something, he'll throw a Mighty Ducks reference out there and get the whole room rolling. But, he's just kind of he's not a rah captain. He's a get the job done kind of captain. And he, will absolutely take responsibility, but he's not out there,
rallying the troops.
Yeah. I mean, maybe behind the scenes, but definitely not publicly. And he's got, they'll tell you that their leadership core is bigger than just him. He is the captain, but he's got Adam Larson, alternate captain. He's got Jaden Schwartz, who's injured and he's on the road trip, but probably not playing tonight. And Maddie, and he's Seattle loves him. And, but yeah, there's definitely more, kind of Sidney Crosby's and Gabriel Landeskog's out there who are kind of like, that's the captain. And with Jordan Everly, it's kind of like, oh yeah, that's the captain.
Yeah, he's a little bit sneaky. Kate Sheffy joining us for the Seattle Times as we get you set for tonight's action. You can text us 780-218-9999. If you're watching live on YouTube, of course, you can get into the chat there. Kate, which goaltender is the Kraken's starting goaltender, or is it a true tandem?
It's not there have been times like the tandem is what got them to here. Like the reason they're in it is because the goaltending really, really was very solid. Philip Grubauer, what a bounce back season for him. He was waived last year and assigned to the AHL, and everyone thought he was long gone. They held on to him. He's back. He's their guy right now. He's been the better goalie during this 3-game not so hot streak, but better than they were before. They're not losing. They're getting points. And Phil Grubauer has had 2 great efforts. Wouldn't be surprised to see him tonight. They play it pretty close to the vest, but I would say I'm not telling anyone to put any money on it or start anybody in fantasy, but I will tell you that Phil Grubauer has been their goalie for the moment, but it has swung back and forth repeatedly all year.
Okay, I think either goaltender Oilers fans would welcome with open arms because they have lit them up equally. Joey Decord's numbers aren't great against the Oilers. I don't think Grubauer, since he left Colorado, has had great numbers against Edmonton. So around here, I think there's that confidence in the offensive ability of the Oilers to get it done. However, you talked about something that the Oilers are guilty of, and that's passing up offensive opportunities. So what will be the key for the Kraken to close out this long road trip before they finally get back home to maybe climb into a wild card spot tonight against an Oilers team that just for the second time has a 3-game winning streak this season?
They need to stay the heck out of the penalty box. They need to just start firing like they can, like not even firing the puck, just firing like when they all come, like I've seen them take down teams that they had no business taking down this season. And that happens when they all just buy in, and the buy-in hasn't really been consistently there. But if they can rally, they stopped it. This is the very end of a 6-game road trip. They did stop over at home yesterday, slept in their own beds, got a change of shirt, hopefully. And like, if they can all come together and do a heck of a, kind of one of those smothering performances that they're capable of, they can, the Oilers have been pretty good, but they're fallible, and I think the Kraken could do it, but they've got to just like play out of their minds. That's really kind of what it comes down to. It just depends which version of them shows up tonight.
Well, their last one came against Tampa, and the Tampa Bay Lightning are a tremendous team, so they have done it recently. All right, I know I asked one little Oiler question about Eberle, and you did mention Adam Larson. He did just play his 1,000th game. Tell us about Adam Larson, because we haven't seen him in Edmonton in a few years since the Kraken came into the league. But, did they celebrate his 1,000th game, and how has he been received by the Kraken faithful?
Everyone... I should say the super fans. The ones who know, desperately want them to throw, want the Kraken coaching staff to throw him into a shootout, first of all, because he's actually got very good shootout moves, and the Kraken are terrible at shootouts. They're like 1-6 this year, and they've lost twice as many as they've won all time. So they're not good. It's not working. So why not throw Adam Larson out there? And we've seen him score. He's not shy about it, and he's not humble about it, which is great. And he'll like draw. You ask him about it, he'll be like, Yeah, and I'll ask about it, and coach will say, never say never, but it hasn't happened yet. So that's kind of the scuttlebutt. That's for Oilers fans who miss Adam Larson. That's like a little tidbit for you. But his 1,000th game was against Florida. It was on the road, so they're celebrating him. What day is today? They're celebrating him this week at home. Okay. Yes, against the Utah Mammoth. And he'll get his silver stick, and he downplayed it. You know him, you remember him. He was excited about it. His family's all in town, but also he's kind of like, we're in the middle of a playoff hunt right now. I kind of, that's what's most important to him. And he's been very important to this team in its short history, and he's been their top shutdown defenseman, paired with Vince Dunn since March of their inaugural season. So he's been around and he's done a lot for them, and they really like him here. Yeah, he is very much missed in Edmonton, but some tough circumstances. And the last time I talked to him, he said he was enjoying Seattle very, very much, and rightly so. A big compliment to him hitting 1,000 games, and I like the way you summed it up. So he'll get his silver stick, he'll get his praise, but he can be businesslike when the time comes. Sneaky funny. And he gets in the shootout. Let's hope. Come on. And as Kate Sheffy says, get him into the damn shootout already, Lane Lambert. Why not? Honestly, give it a shot. Yeah. We've seen worse. Kate, this has been awesome. Thanks for the time. And then maybe we're going to see you in the playoffs. Who knows? Yeah, be great. Hope so.
Thank you so much, Kate Sheffy, for hopping on with Tom Gazzola there, giving us some insight on the Seattle Kraken. We're going to head back to the Oilers dressing room. You can continue to text us 780-218-9999. Get into the Nasty chat as well. We're going to hear from Matias Ekholm, and then it'll be Tom and myself to wrap up the show before the Oilers and Kraken tonight.
Ramping up here. Almost in April now. Playoffs are a few weeks away, and it just seems that the right parts of your game are coming around as a team.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think still only, 3-4 good games. So, we're not leaning back thinking we're team to beat or anything like that. We're still a work in progress, and we got to earn it and show it every night. So you look down, we have 8 games left, but it seems like every game is against a division rival or opponent that are neck and neck with us. So, we have another big one tonight, and just trying to build our game.
You played with Evan for many years. He's on historic numbers for him this year, new career highs and everything. A little bit of a slow start like the whole team did, but his game really since November has been maybe the best defenseman in the league if you look at a lot of the statistics. Well, what's impressed you as a guy who plays beside him? Where have you seen the growth in his game?
Nothing surprises me with him. I think from the first day I got to play with him, I knew I was in a really good position being on a pair with him. He's an unbelievable hockey player. I think he is showing it year to year, and I think he's taking steps every year. I think right now there's nobody that would disagree that he's the top 5 defenseman in the NHL. And to me, it's a complete game. I don't think a lot of people see him as this offensive, dynamic guy, and he's got his shot, but his breakout passes are amazing. You look in the game, how many times he finds guys in stride, in speed, that creates offense for us. He plays on the penalty kill. He's very solid defensively, so I think he's the complete package, and I think he's only going to keep growing.
In the time that you guys have kind of dialed in your game defensively here, how much of that was the staff putting some things in place, just some little adjustments in your own end? How much of it was you guys kind of looking in the mirror and saying there's details we know we can dial in? Like what's the combination there of those two things contributing?
It's easy to say, but I think for me, this group knows what time of year is coming up, and I think that this group has shown that when the stage gets bigger, we tend to show up, and we're getting down to that time when it's, if you want to be in the dance, you got to make sure to punch your ticket here. So playoff time is when this team is at its best, and I think that's one of the bigger factors where the urgency goes up when it's this time of year. So kudos to us for finding it, because sometimes you just can't if you have a sluggish start to the year. So But with that, I think some of the details too that the coaches have put in place and us executing them has been a factor for sure.
What is practicing against Savoy and Podkolzin like? These two young guys with lots of energy, skate well. Like, what have you seen from them in growth and practice?
Yeah, if you were to draw up the optimal young guy coming into the league, they both work hard, they both skate really well, they're the future of the game. And I think looking at Podkolzin too, he's got some old school in him too, right? With his physicality and with how he sticks up for guys, and he's a beast. So I think they both are really tremendous prospects, or not prospects. They're good NHL players today. They're going to just keep growing. They're still young, but the upside of their games are huge, and I think they bring a lot to this team.
All right, there's Matias Ekholm. Big thank you to Kate Sheffy for stopping by from the Seattle Times. And I wanted to run that for a reason. Did you catch what Ekholm said about the team at this time of year? Can you enlighten me? Because the board crashed on me during his interview. And I didn't hear it. Well, he said, I'm paraphrasing, he thinks that this group knows how to play the right way this time of year. Because, Shaggy offered up, is it like the change in system? Is it personnel? And he's like, well, I think we know how to play it this time of year. That's almost like him saying, flipping the switch on. And I found that interesting that he didn't say, oh, it's the defensive structure, or it's having a guy like Connor Murphy helping out Darnell, and Jake Wallman playing with Emerson, or Mark Stewart and Paul Coffey working in tandem together and providing differing views and ways to help us improve. Didn't even say that. He just said, I think we know how to play at this time of year. I think, players have said it, like an 82 game season, man. It's grind. Long. It's a grind, right? Like it's, and especially when you've gone to 2 cup finals in a row, whether you like the excuse or not, logically it's there. There's an excuse for it. There's a reason why these guys should be tired throughout the season. It's because they haven't had a lot of off time. It's been a lot of hockey over the past couple of years for this team, a team that has been busting their balls to win a Stanley Cup, and they haven't gotten it, but they've been right there to it. So yeah, I get it. Like I think for him, it's now they're starting to see the kind of the light at the end of the tunnel in a sense, where it's like playoff time is coming now. They're going to make the playoffs. They're set up pretty well in the playoffs. They're going to have 2 weaker opponents if they were to win the first rounds in this playoff. So I get it. I understand why that's kind of the notion from the players, is that they know how to turn it on when it matters. Looks like they're kind of starting to right now, and we'll see if it continues heading into the playoffs here. All right, let's take a look at your lineups for tonight and your injury report real quick. The Oilers, little tweak to the lineup, nothing major. You're going to see McDavid between Podkolzin and Savoy again. Nugent Hopkins with Hyman and Roslovic. Dickinson centering Adam Henrique and Kasperi Kapanen, and Josh Szymanski will center the fourth line with Max Jones and Curtis Lazar. On defense, Ekholm with Bouchard, Nurse with Murphy, Wallman with Emerson, Connor Ingram is your starter in goal. The netminder of choice for the Seattle Kraken is Philip Grubauer tonight. I know they don't like to really reveal their starting goaltender, the 34-year-old, 13-9-4 this season, 260 GAA, 911 save percentage in 29 games this year, no shutouts. Lifetime versus the Oil, a 3-5 record for Grubauer through 10 games, 446 goals against average, 840 save percentage. And Connor Ingram's faced Seattle once in his career. He won that game, 277 GAA, 921 save percentage. The Kraken will be without Shane Wright. I'll get to that in a second as we get you to the Say the Reed Sport Medicine Injury Report. Connor McDavid's got a team of specialists. You have a bag of frozen peas. Get the same locker room approach trusted by the best in the game at Say the Reed Sport Medicine. Book your assessment today at www.saythereedsportmed.ca or call 780-460-9977. Leo Draisaitl for the Oil, LTIR, lower body. Trent Frederick, undisclosed. He was on the ice today. Colton Dock, upper body. He was on the ice today this morning. Matias Ekholm, LTI, shoulder, done for the year. For Seattle, Jaden Schwartz was day-to-day with the face issue. Ryan Winterton, personal reasons, out of action. Shane Wright is out as well due to injury. He's dealing with an upper body issue. So we'll see how the Kraken can do without Shane Wright. Young, not a prospect anymore, young NHLer, highly touted one, trying to find his way in the NHL. He can't go for Seattle. That's going to do it for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Big thank you to Kate Sheffy from the Seattle Times for hopping on, giving us a scoop on those Kraken as this team and the Oilers close out the season series. Edmonton looking to go 3-1 against Seattle this year. A big thank you to everybody who listened on iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, of course, EdmontonSportsTalk.com's audio player. To those who watched, we appreciate it. As always, hit that thumbs up button on the way out. Enjoy the Oilers and the Kraken. For Belle and Benny, I'm Tommy saying see you on the postgame show.